Icecrown Citadel is the last major raid in Wrath of the Lich King. And with that, every class is getting some of the most insane gear and crazy DPS upgrades that they possibly can throughout this entire phase to end off feeling like a god. But you might be a little bit confused on how exactly you're gonna get all of your gear. How do you get your tier gear? What are the fastest ways to gear up your character? And what are some of the catch-up mechanics? So today I'm gonna try to break that all down for you, although I'm not really gonna go too deep into catch-up mechanics itself. There's a ton of them and they're amazing, but that will be for its own separate video. Also guys, before I dive in, of course, if you do want to watch the Race to World First ICC, make sure to come and hang out with me on the 12th on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Sarthe. With that being said, let's dive right in. Before getting into the raid itself, the patch will launch 2 days early on NA and 1 day early on EU. This will give you some time to catch up your character with any of the gear you don't have yet from the last few phases that could be some of your BIS items. Specifically, I'm talking about trinkets mostly, like Comet's Trail, Death's Choice, Flare, or Rain. You can actually get these just from running the new Titan Rune Gamma dungeons. These are the heroic +++s, and the easiest way to do this is to just queue up for your random dungeon finder, because this should ignore any lockouts, meaning you can spam these all day and get an infinite amount of these, as well as you can also buy some primordial serenite from this and probably make a ton of gold on day 1 through the first probably 2 weeks by just doing this method. This will catch you up very quickly, and we probably won't have Vault of Archivon bosses released yet. Guys, you don't want to do VOA on the patch day. Wait until the raid launch, because you probably will lock yourself without being able to actually defeat the boss. But the new boss will drop some tier pieces, as it always does, and these tier pieces will be from the 25-man difficulty. This will save you a ton of emblems, because emblems are the only way we're actually going to be able to get our tier gear and even upgrade our tier gear. So there's a major change in the way we actually get our tier 10. In Heroic Trial of the Grand Crusader, as long as we got a Vanquisher token or whatever token for our respective class to drop, then we could instantly turn it in for the max level of tier gear. This is no longer the case. We actually have to upgrade our gear in order to get the highest rank, which is going to start out at eye level 251, which is lower than the gear we have currently, move up to item level 264, and then into eye level 277 for the best gear in the game. So to get each piece, it'll either cost you 95 emblems or 60 emblems if you're just grabbing the shoulders or gloves, meaning that if you do get the gloves as well as the legs to drop in Vault of Archivon, this will save you 155 emblems that you needed to get this tier gear, as well as this will be upgraded tier. Or if you actually just get the normal version, this is really useful for you also, because if you do it from 10-man, you can just upgrade it initially. But like you can see, guys, you need to turn in your old gear to upgrade it into the next level, and then one more time to get that heroic loot. And so in total, if you don't get lucky and get any drops from Vault of Archivon, then you need to have 405 emblems to get your entire set of tier 10. And if you farm every single emblem you can each week, then you can get up to 104. This means it'll take you at least 4 weeks to get all of your tier gear. And then you also need to get the marks to even be able to upgrade them. So the mark drops are as follows. Any of the end wing bosses in 10-man heroic or 25-man normal versions will drop the 264 marks. The end wing bosses are Saurfang, Blood Queen Lanethel, Professor Putricide, Syndragosa, and of course the Lich King. So that's 5 opportunities from normal mode 25 and again heroic 10-man to get some of your marks to be able to upgrade your tier gear. If you're on heroic mode though, you will actually get 2 of those normal marks to drop and 1 heroic mark to drop, so you can upgrade it again. So it's going to take you at least a couple weeks to get all of your tier gear and then to start upgrading it. But you can also use emblems for other items. Within ICC itself, there's an emblem of Frost vendor that you can go to, and he has a ton of things for you. Things like trinkets, relics, offhands, cloaks, belts, chest pieces, and of course your PvP gear. But we're not so focused on that for the purposes of this video, but you might actually still get some of your best in slot items from this vendor. So you might need even more emblems of Frost. So here's a quick breakdown of how you can get as many that you can each week. First of all, there's a new heroic daily, and you can get 5 of these each day. That means you can get 35 per week just from doing the heroic dailies. Then there is a new weekly raid quest that will give you 10 each week. From doing the boss in Vault of Archivon on 10 and 25-man difficulty, you will get 2 emblems each. each. And each boss you kill in ICC will give you 2 of these. So in 10 and 25 man, clearing all of the bosses will give you 48 per week because there's 12 bosses. Within the raid itself, there's a weekly quest you can do on 10 and 25 man for 5 each. That's 10 per week. Now, the eye level jump from phase 3 to phase 4 is massive with the correct gear. But if you're just going into normal 10 man, you will get 251 eye level loot, and then the Lich King will give you 258 eye level gear. If you do heroic 10 man, then you will get 271 gear from the Lich King, amazing weapons, but he's going to be pretty hard to defeat, and 264 eye level loot from normal bosses. This is also the same eye level you would get from normal bosses in 25 man, the 264 gear. But if you just do those bosses on heroic, you will instantly start getting 277 eye level gear. Now, heroic Lich King is ridiculously hard, even though he does drop 284 eye level weapons. It is really going to be a struggle for most guilds for quite a while. Some people think it's mathematically impossible to do it on day 1 without doing 10-man splits, and we'll find out on the stream when it happens in Race to World First on the 12th. Will we either see people do 10-mans to be able to defeat it or not? But most groups will be opting to kill Lich King on normal for quite a while, and he drops 271 eye level weapons for you. These are going to be huge upgrades out of the gate no matter what. Not necessarily as good as the best in slot in the entire game, but they are very, very strong, just a little bit weaker than your normal heroic items that are 277. So if you want your absolute best weapons, you're definitely going to want to try to kill heroic Lich King. But again, I would actually focus on gearing up your characters way more before you really go into this, because he is very, very hard encounter that we have still only heard of one group on all 3 PTRs ever being able to down it just yet. Now, I wouldn't doubt at all that other raid groups haven't taken him out by this point, but this is how you're going to completely gear up your characters in next phase to be ready to move on towards whatever is the end. Are we going to get Cataclysm? Are we going to get Classic Plus? Are you going to continue playing? I did leave out Shadowmourne, and that's for its own video, but realistically, Shadowmourne was made so much easier to get. And if you want to know what classes your guild should be bringing to progression to have the strongest chance to actually down all of the heroic bosses, then check out my tier list for that.